Hey everybody, welcome to The Blacklist, the show where we interview the elite. Today we have a longtime friend, Trevor Cowley, and dude, you're phenomenal. Like I've seen you, first time I met you was through Ryan Stillman,
Yep.
but you guys have grown tremendously. Back then, you guys had
Yeah.
an eight-figure company, right? And you
Yeah.
guys are crushing it.
Yeah.
You and
Kale.
Kale, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to have you down on the show. You actually don't live too far, right?
No, hour and a half up the freeway, dude. It's
Yeah.
good to be here.
So
I
did you
appreciate
drive or
you.
did you fly?
Oh, I do drove.
Yeah, I guess,
Bro,
yeah.
I don't like planes that much.
No?
No.
Oh, dude. Well, it's good to have you. For people that don't know you, right? This is their first time listening
Yeah.
in. Who is Trevor and what does he do?
My name's Trevor Cowley. I do a whole lot of things, right? Like, um, I have a couple different businesses. One, I own Easier Accounting. I own 60-day credit repair. I
Yeah.
have investments in, you know, 15 different companies outside of my business. We have a podcast called Real Business Owners that's, amassed 1.5 million downloads and is a top 1% business podcast in the world.
Yeah.
We have the Real Business Owners Mastermind, Real Business Owners Inner Circle. We try to stay busy.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
100%. I know
Yeah.
that's a lot of work, dude.
Well,
Two companies
when
investing in 15. It's like,
when you come from an addictive background, you've always got to be doing something,
yeah.
right? Like you've got to take this addictive personality and invest it in areas that are positive, right? Like
Right.
because if you have too much idle time on your hands, you end up doing something negative and
Yeah, yeah.
destroying yourself. So
And then you're addicted to something that's, not,
it,
not
it-
so good
yeah,
for you.
exactly. I'm addicted to personal growth, and I'm addicted to, I think financial growth is just a way to kind of measure personal growth because I believe that you can't really an individual that doesn't feel good about who they are can't go out there and make $100 million, right?
Yeah.
So I think as you evolve as an individual, your possibilities and opportunities evolve as well. And so it's not necessarily about the money that you make, it's who you become on the way to making all that money, right?
Right.
And so that's what's really cool about it is I just like putting challenges in front of myself as we were talking about prior to coming on.
Yeah. Running.
Running 30 miles or whatever with one of the homies.
Yeah.
It's just a challenge where I get to meet my mind and find out who I really am and what I'm about. And it's those moments that truly count.
Yeah.
It's not what you do when you feel good, right?
Right,
Anybody
right.
can perform when they feel good. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody feels good running 30 miles.
No, dude, there's not too many miles that I like. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? My mind turns on me every single time I go out for a run. But I'm also creating an environment where I know my mind's going to turn on me so that when it happens unexpectedly in life, just in general, I know how to deal with that situation where my
Exactly.
mind tries to start selling me reasons not to do this thing that I know will serve me.
Yeah.
I go out and create a controlled environment where I know what that looks like and I can overcome it and get my reps in.
Yep.
So when in real life it happens and it's a curveball, something that I can't control, and my mind turns on me, I've already got my reps in. I'm already
a lot
mentally
easier.
disciplined. Yeah.
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 Dude, well, I mean, I think that's where, and this is just me assuming, but I'm assuming that's where real business owners kind of comes into play. Like, how did you guys come up with that term, and why that?
Real business owners came into play because, I mean, originally we had an Instagram account under Easier Accounting.
Yeah,
Right? We're trying to put content out as business owners because everybody from Gary Vee to,
yeah,
the small guy on Instagram says, put out content, branding, blah, 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 blah. So we set up an Instagram account under Easier Accounting. We were posting the same type of content that we post on the Real Business Owners Instagram account, right?
yeah,
Like motivational business stuff, overcoming struggle, whatever, right? But when it comes from a business, it feels like it has an agenda behind it,
it's true.
right? Like
Yeah,
it's probably less shareable if it comes from State Farm versus just one of your homies, right?
yeah,
If the message is the same message, but it has a brand behind it, it's hard. It's harder to make it a shareable piece of content. And so um, that realization happened after we got Easier Accounting Instagram shut down.
Oh,
Like
fuck,
we were
right.
doing giveaways, $500,
Yeah,
this, that, the other. But I guess you're supposed to put disclaimers on there that Instagram's not responsible for it. They
yeah,
never really fully told us why they took it down. They just said, see guidelines, see guidelines, see guidelines.
yeah,
And I was kind of at a really dark spot because I was like, man, we built that up and had like 10,000 followers. We were starting to get some traction finally after a year, spending money, figuring out
yeah,
all the things that you shouldn't be doing, right? Which is normally the process of, you know, anything when it comes to success. You usually try all the things that don't work first, right? The
yeah,
process of elimination. So we got that taken down, and I was like, oh, like what are we gonna do from here? Like I don't know. Like I was at a low spot, and I remembered a story about The Rock sitting on like a deck of a hotel, talking about when he got cut from a football team. It was like one of the lowest moments, but it was the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah.
And so when I was at a low moment after a year's worth of time and probably 30 grand invested into growing that Instagram account to 10,000 followers and starting to get traction, I said, okay, this is just trying to redirect us.
Right.
This is
Right.
this is happening for us. I just don't see it fully yet. And so if I stay in a negative state, nothing positive can come from that.
Yeah.
So I had to like convince myself that this was a good thing. I just don't know why yet. And so I got rid of the kind of the negative thoughts about it. And was like, I'm not going to just quickly go set up another easier underscore accounting and just like do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like I've got to figure out why. And then it hit me. It was basically what I said. It feels like that the content has an agenda behind it. I needed to create an account that was relatable, right? And who is our customer? Real business owners. We want
Yeah.
real business owners at Easier Accounting so we could do their bookkeeping and tax prep, blah, 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 right?
Yep.
That's who we identify as, right? So we're real business owners. We want to connect with real business owners. And so I said, why don't we change the name and kind of camouflage it a little bit,
Yeah.
to where it doesn't feel like there's an agenda behind it. It's just it's a place where people can go to source good information,
Yeah.
where they feel understood, right? And I had like a couple names written down, like owners and operators, because we were owners and operators of businesses, right? Real business owners. And then there was like another one.
Yeah.
And so I sat my partners down. I was like, I've got an idea. Let's camouflage this thing
Yeah.
and make it look like it's just there for good information, which it is, but we obviously, are investing a lot of money and time and effort into it in hopes that long term that we get enough awareness where it impacts our business in a positive way, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so I went down the list of names and I said real business owners, and Kel's like, that one's available? I said, yeah, I checked all the ones that I wrote down
Yeah.
before I presented it to you guys. He goes, that's the one. And so that's how real business owners came to be. It was at the death of something else
Yeah.
that looked terrible. And then an idea came, and literally within 3 months, we had over 10,000 followers. So
Damn.
we had beat the previous one that took a year, and then it grew up to like 70, 80,000 followers within like the first year and a half.
And why do you
something
think
like
it did that? Why do you think it did that right away?
um, I just think because we talked about struggle, we talked about the process. We didn't really like, talk about look at me, and more people can identify with the struggle because everybody in business struggles. Not
Yeah.
everybody in business will see success,
Yeah.
right? There's only a small percentage of people that will go through what they have to go through in order to see the result that is considered success,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so we wanted to just let people know that it is tough. It is hard. Like that is just the process. That is the price that everybody has to pay. It's not what you're going through is not unique,
Yeah.
right? Like we went through it. The next business owner over is going through it.
Yep.
You're going through it. I know that you feel alone. I feel in the struggle because usually your environment or your surroundings, you're usually around employees and they don't understand it, right?
Yeah.
And then you go home and maybe your spouse or loved ones don't quite understand it. And so you feel like that you're in this spot wondering if it'll ever work out, and feeling alone and depressed and this and that. And, we just wanted to give hope, really, I guess, that it will pay off provided you continue to show up every single day, right?
Yeah. Damn, dude. And you guys, I mean, how long have you been consistent with that? With the
In I think 3 or 4 more episodes will be our 4-year anniversary. So
Wow.
we do one a week, and it's like I think we have 203 or 4 recorded, and it would take 208 to be exactly 4 years. So,
And have you seen? I'm pretty sure you have, but you've seen kind of like the benefits of that because usually, in the beginning, you might not see it right away, but like
yeah,
you're 4 years in, 4 years in, like,
yeah,
do you see all of what you did, all of the recordings that you've done, and all that content that you put out
yeah,
kind of come back to you?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When we went into it, we said, let's not judge this thing for 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't go into business to try to own a business to get rich in 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless
Yeah.
you're chasing a get rich quick scheme, which your heart will be broken soon,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So we said if we're not going to start a business and think that it's going to show us what the true value of this business is going to be within 6 months, why would we do that on a podcast?
Sure. Yeah.
So we said let's just not judge the numbers. Let's go at it, with pure intentions of playing the long game, giving value, and just really seeing if the law of reciprocity is real.
Yeah.
Right. And we did that, and, yeah, it's 100 downloads here, 100 there, whatever, and, then it touched 1,000 per episode, and it's like, "Whoa," we're doing something, and then, we start seeing 15,000 on one, and, it's like, "Oh, people really shared that one and loved
Yeah.
that one," right? And so it's been really, really cool to, one, receive some of the letters that we've received. An individual about ready to shut down. I made a statement one time, I guess, in a podcast. If you feel like quitting, give it 6 more months, and if in 6 months you still feel like quitting, then quit.
Yeah.
But don't listen to that emotion right now.
Yeah.
And there was an individual that listened to that and wrote us a letter saying that he was about to quit and listened to that. And then 6 months later, he was doing, $1 million a year in revenue,
Yeah.
like a carpet cleaner or something like that.
Wow. Yeah.
And he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and his life's completely different. And he just didn't quit because of that one. We've got letters that people were, suicidal,
Yeah.
and their business was taking them to the brink,
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
financially, mentally, emotionally, and that put them in a space where they felt like that there was possibilities of success, or like, all we need is hope. When we're
Yeah.
in a dark place, all we need is hope.
Yep.
And so, like, if we could be that, like, it's done way more than I thought it ever would. Whether you're talking about, financially, whether you're talking about mentally, emotionally, for me to be able to get letters or DMs and just messages in general that it's actually serving and helping people.
Yeah.
I think we all have the ability to do that. I think the world's hurting at its peak, and guess what? Tomorrow will be at its peak. The
Yeah.
next day will be at its peak. Every day that goes by, it feels like, people are getting more down on themselves. They're, questioning themselves even more depressed, more mental
I
health
feel like
issues.
that's very heavy right now.
It is very heavy, and
Yeah.
tomorrow it's going to be a little heavier, and
Yeah.
a little heavier. But we have the ability to make a ripple effect,
Yeah.
is what I found out to be true. Like, if somebody comments on a post, like, "Hey," like, you commenting back saying, "Hey, have a great weekend. I appreciate your support." That's saying, "I see you, I care about you, and I appreciate you." And, like, if that's the thing that we could do to make a small effect in somebody's life. I remember commenting on people's accounts and not getting a comment, or sending a DM and not getting a DM,
Yeah.
right? Like, feeling like the size of an ant. Like, nobody, like, these people don't, I'm supporting them and they don't even care,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, I remember those emotions when I would reach out to somebody with 50,000 followers and they would just show no love. And I was like, dude, that ain't going to be the case here.
Yeah.
Like, if literally us commenting back or sending a DM back, like, we've got so many people, "Oh my gosh, I didn't think that you would really do that."
Right. Right.
And it's like, if it means that much, it's such a small gesture to just reply back to somebody that's showing you love and support.
That's true.
And if that has the ability to enhance somebody's life, you're not donating a bunch of time or money. You're just replying back and wishing them well,
Yeah.
and saying, like, I reply back and say, "Thank you so much. That message means the world to me."
Yeah.
And then by default, that means the world to them, right? And so it's just like, we all
And
have the ability to make a small ripple effect. And if everybody did that, the world would be a much better place.
I agree. I agree. But did you learn that, like while you were doing it, like, or did
I
you
learned
just
it
kind of have that
before.
already? Yeah.
I learned it before because I know what it feels like.
That's true.
Like, I know what it feels like to be an employee and not feel seen or heard.
Yeah.
And so when I became a business owner, I wanted to be different. Every single morning I go into the office, I give knuckles to every single person in the
Yeah.
office every single day. You know what I mean? So that they feel seen, heard, and appreciated. Like, period. Right? Like, why do we forget the emotions that we felt, like,
That's true.
prior to being in the position that we're in? Like, there's people out there that need just a dap, and
Yeah.
it's that simple. I know it would have made a world of difference as an employee at the employers that I used to work for. Like, oh, they recognized me, they
Yeah.
saw me. Like, that still exists. You're just on the other side of it now. Why can't we be the change?
Right.
And I've made, like I said, a comment or sent a DM. "Hey man, love your stuff. Appreciate what you're putting out," and nothing back.
Yeah.
And I know how that feels. So, like, if I know how that feels, like, why would I want to put that feeling in somebody else?
Yeah. You're
Like,
right. I think it's just people forget, like
they
when they
do.
get to a spot, it's like
Yeah.
they just forget it's over. Like, they
Yeah.
just don't think about that anymore.
Yeah.
They're in a place of like authority now,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what,
Don't
yeah.
forget where you came from, people. You know
Exactly,
what I
right?
mean? Like, I used to be a drug addict, bro, and I remember when I quit using drugs at, 24 years old, whatever, 14, 15
Yeah.
years ago, I was going through so much pain when I was dealing with my demons, the decisions that I made,
Yeah.
right? We all have to eventually turn around and face the decisions that we've made up to this point in our life in
Right.
order to course correct. That was that was a demon that I had to turn around and fight,
Yeah.
right? And it was a battle. It was a bitch, right? And I had to go through my pain and my suffering. But when I was in my pain and my suffering, I made a promise to myself. I will never make the decisions that put me in this much pain and turmoil ever again.
Yeah.
So when I make promises to myself, I keep them. So if I ever have attention and awareness, I will never make somebody else feel small. There's a word called genshai. Never
Okay.
in any manner make somebody feel small, including yourself.
Powerful, dude.
And I like to live by that.
Yeah.
The hardest part of it is the including yourself,
Yeah.
because our mind likes to turn on us and sell us reasons why we should feel small, why we're not good enough, right? That's the hardest one to overcome.
Yeah.
But like, if you can overcome that one and you feel good about yourself, you're going to want to make other people feel good about them too,
That's
and
true.
put more good into the world, right?
And I think that's when we were talking about earlier. It's like, when you're running, because you run insane runs, dude. Like there's a moment in time where your mind's like, nah, I can't do this
I
anymore,
can't.
right?
Yeah.
But because you're practicing that all the time, you're like, well, I know this is gonna come. My
Yeah.
mind's gonna tell me this.
Yeah.
Like, then you just kind of surpass it,
Yeah.
right? Like, and what's that switch for you? Like, the moment it comes, and you like, what do you tell yourself to kind of fight that
I
back?
see you,
Mm,
because I went out to look for it.
yeah.
Like,
Damn.
you know what I
That's
mean?
powerful. Yeah,
So
that's
like
powerful.
if I'm going on a 38-mile run for my birthday, I can't expect not to face that.
Yeah.
And so like if it's mile 15 or mile 20 or mile 25, I know it's coming.
Yeah.
And then when it happens, I'm like, I see you. This is it. This is where real progress is finally made. This is where I get to find out what I'm really about.
Yeah.
It's going to tell me the blisters, pull back. The cramps, pull back. You're tired. Isn't this good enough? Pull back.
It's
It's
the awareness. Like you kind of
yeah.
see yourself in like a 30,000 foot view. You
Yeah.
know, like, yeah, that's fucking
Yeah,
insane.
you're sitting at the lighthouse of your thoughts. You're
Yeah,
looking down on it and being like, okay, I see you, I see you, I see you.
that's
Um,
where the real power's at.
that is real where the real power's at. I made a commitment when I was at a low spot at the end of 2021.
Yeah,
I asked myself, what do I do when I feel best? I was making more money than I've ever made, making millions of dollars. And I'm like, why am I at a low spot? Money was supposed to fix everything,
yeah,
right? I asked myself, what was I doing when I felt best in my body and mind? Is when I was doing 75 hard, two body movements every day, reading every day. I felt like I was growing and making progress.
yeah,
And so January 1 of 2022, so January of last year, I decided to do two-a-days every single day, read every. I'm on day 469 of 1,000 two-a-days every day,
yeah,
and reading 10 pages every day, because I've done 75 hard. I've done 100 days. Like, I want to create bigger, scarier goals that make me question myself
right,
to see
right.
if I really, am I really who I think I am?
Yeah,
Are you putting yourself in environments to really figure out who you are? We can all think that we're great, but create an environment that proves it to you that you're actually as great as you think that you might be.
yeah.
Show up. You know what I mean? And so here in the next month or so, I'll hit the halfway point. I think it's like
Damn.
September 27th, 2024
Yeah,
is my 1,000-day mark. You know what I mean? So again, like I said earlier in the conversation, I really like challenging myself. I really like meeting my mind. It's not necessarily about money anymore. It's about impacting people in a positive way. We're all connected. When you make somebody feel good, it feels good.
yeah,
When you tear somebody down, you walk away and you're like, man, you feel like crap.
yeah.
That shows you right there how connected we really are. So if I can make you feel good about you, then by default, I'm making me feel good about me,
Right.
right? So let's bring more value to the world. And the best way to do that is you becoming the most elite version of yourself.
Yeah,
How do you become the most elite version of yourself? By continuing to push the current version of yourself to its limits, so that the limits continue to increase.
yeah,
Make basically today's ceiling tomorrow's floor, right? Like, I remember my first 3-mile run. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I said I was going to run 37 miles on my 37th birthday. I have 39 days to try to figure this out.
yeah,
I was going through like a midlife crisis. I could either buy a drop top or challenge myself.
yeah.
And I'm really stingy with my money. You know what I mean? I like it. I like to keep money, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I'll run 5 miles or 10 miles or whatever. Furthest I ever ran before that was like 5.6 miles, and I had
Yeah.
39 days, and I was like, I had this thought, and I went and spoke it to some of my employees. I said, I'm going to run 37 miles on my 37th birthday. And people started laughing. I said, that's all I need. So I trained 10 times and ran 37 miles.
Yeah.
And
Damn.
and then after that, that was the end of 2021. I got into a low spot because I stopped running.
Mm.
But I felt great trying to chase down this big, scary dream or goal that I had, right?
Yeah.
And that's when I committed to the, 2-a-days every single day, continuing to run and challenge myself, for 1,000 days. And so I got 39 miles coming up this July. So, what, 3 months, something like that. So,
Well,
uh,
I mean, I believe you.
yeah,
You'll get
yeah.
it.
Well, I'm not worried
Yeah.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just another birthday now. I've done
Right.
37, 38. Now it's 39, and I'll
Nice.
see 40 next year. So,
Well, dude, we should do this again because I really enjoyed this conversation.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, it was
I know
fun.
this one's a little short, but
Yeah.
dude, I appreciate being here. Where can people find you?
You can check us out at realbusinessowners.com or Real Business Owners on Instagram, Trevor Cowley on Facebook, or Real Business Owners on Facebook. Again, if you have any questions or you're hitting a low point and you need just a pick me up, reach out to us. We'd love to be there for you.
Cool. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, bro.
Now we really should